Good evening. This is Left, Right and Centre. I'm Nidhi Rajasthan. As one man dies after brutally being beaten by a cow vigilante mob in Rajasthan, not one of the attackers has been arrested, and shockingly, even the victims are being treated as accused by the police for cow smuggling. Have these so-called rakshaks got emboldened? Do they feel they have a free hand to do whatever they want? And is the state really dispensing justice in the process? Well, 2 days after 5 Muslim men were dragged out of their trucks and thrashed mercilessly by a mob on a highway in Alwar near Rajasthan for alleged cow smuggling, one of the men, 55-year-old Pehlu Khan, died in hospital late on Monday night. The men said that they had valid papers to show that they were transporting the cows for Ramzan, for milk, not for slaughter. But here comes the twist. Cases have been filed against both sides, against both the attackers and the victims. And not one of the attackers has been arrested yet. The victims are also being treated as accused by the police for allegedly smuggling cows. Shekhar Gupta, a big sense of deja vu at the moment. This is exactly like the Akhlaq killing in Dadri that we saw in UP a couple of years ago. Do you get a sense that these mobs, these groups feel emboldened today, that they can do what they want and pretty much get away with it?
Well, most certainly they do, particularly in states which have BJP governments, because we have seen so far that action against them either is non-existent or is not in proportion with the gravity of the offence committed, and very often blame is put on the other side. It's just the way, say, sexual assault on women was treated in the past. That the woman must be at fault. In this case, the victim must be at fault. So there is victim shaming. There is a tendency to say the victim is the usual suspect, particularly if the victim is Muslim. This has certainly gone out of control, and it's a matter of time before something more tragic happens. A death is tragic enough, but it can be 10 deaths. It can be a riot tomorrow. Governments have the responsibility to maintain law and order. If it's a state where trading in cows is prohibited or cow slaughter is prohibited, law can take action. Law is very strong now. Now you can send people in some states to jail for life. I don't think any state now has less than 10 years.
You know what you're saying? I spoke earlier to Rajasthan's Home Minister Gulab Chand Kataria, and you can listen to this interview because here he's talking about, in a way, contextualizing the way the mob behaved, because as he says, it's about Hindu sentiments. And then, he goes on to say that those who were brutally beaten that day were manhandled. There's that and much more. Watch this interview.
And they asked for it.
Well, we're joined on that big story now by Rajasthan's Home Minister, Mr. Gulab Chand Kataria. Mr. Kataria, सबसे पहले आप हमें बताएंगे कि ये जो इन्वेस्टिगेशन है इस केस में, ये प्रोब अभी कहां तक पहुंचा है?
में क्या है कि शनिवार के दिन ये सूचना मिली थी पुलिस को कि कुछ गौ तस्करी हो रही है और कुछ गाड़ियां आ रही है। पुलिस ने उनमें से 3 गाड़ियों को रोकी, कुछ गाड़ियां आगे निकल गई। लोगों ने जो है उस जो आगे निकल गई गाड़ियां उनको रोका भी सही, उनके साथ मारपीट भी की। तो जितनी भी गौ तस्करी की जो गायें जा रही थी उनको तो पुलिस ने उतार दी और वहां जो गौशाला है उसको सुपुर्द कर दी और उनके खिलाफ भी 6 मुकदमे दर्ज कर दिए। इसी तरह से जिन्होंने मारपीट की उनके खिलाफ भी एक मुकदमा दर्ज हो गया। दुर्भाग्य से जो मारपीट की थी उसका एक आदमी हॉस्पिटल में उसकी डेथ हो गई, वो 302 में कन्वर्ट हो गया। उसमें जो मुलजिम हैं वो नामजद हैं, उनको पुलिस गिरफ्तार करेगी।
लेकिन कटारिया जी, एफआईआर में कहा गया है कि ये बजरंग दल और वीएचपी के लोग थे जिन्होंने ये किया है। क्या ये सही है?
ऐसा है कि कोई भी आदमी गाय रोकता है, वो हिंदुस्तान में सब लोग 2 ही नाम जानते हैं कि गाय रोकने का लिप्त ठेका इन्होंने लिया। ऐसा नहीं, हिंदू समाज के सैकड़ों लोगों की भावना है और राजस्थान में गौ निकासी पे पूर्णतः प्रतिबंध है। कोई भी गौ निकासी कर नहीं सकता है इससे, और इसके कारण से स्वाभाविक जनता का आक्रोश होता है इस प्रकार की गाय ले जाने। कानून के तहत पुलिस उसको रोकती है और गौशालाओं को सुपुर्द कर देती है, लेकिन कानून हाथ में लेने का अधिकार भी किसी को नहीं है, चाहे वो बजरंग हो, चाहे मैं हूं, चाहे कोई एक्स और वाई जेड हो। हमने दोनों के मुकदमे दर्ज किए, दोनों पर कार्रवाई कर रहे हैं।
लेकिन जिस तरह से आप बात कर रहे हैं, आप एक तरह से जस्टिफाई कर रहे हैं कि लोगों ने उनको कैसे पीटा, आप जस्टिफाई कर रहे हैं।
जस्टिफाई नहीं कर रहे हैं, इनके खिलाफ कार्रवाई कर रहे हैं। ये आप गलत मोड़ रहे हो। जस्टिफाई नहीं कर रहे हैं। उनके खिलाफ भी मुकदमा दर्ज है और वो मुकदमा 302 में कन्वर्ट हो गया है। वो पहले से ही दर्ज है, आज दर्ज नहीं हुआ, पहले से ही दर्ज है इनके खिलाफ भी। जो इन्होंने जिनके साथ में मारपीट हुई उन्होंने मुकदमा दर्ज कराया, वो भी पुलिस ने दर्ज कर रखा है। और गो तस्करी करने वालों को गो तस्करी के मुकदमे भी उन पर दर्ज हैं।
लेकिन कटारिया जी, आपने पहले भी बोला है आज कि ये प्रॉब्लम दोनों तरफ से है और आप दोनों को इक्वेट कर रहे हैं। आप उसको कैसे इक्वेट कर सकते हैं? एक केस तो क्लियरली मर्डर का केस है, दोनों तरफ से प्रॉब्लम कैसे हुई?
देखो, प्रॉब्लम यह है कि गो तस्करी करना कानूनी अपराध है। राजस्थान में कानून बना हुआ है, इसलिए उनके खिलाफ गो तस्करी का मुकदमा दर्ज हुआ। जिन्होंने मैन हैंडलिंग किया उनके खिलाफ, क्योंकि उनको ये अधिकार नहीं है कि किसी के साथ मारपीट करें, इसलिए उनके खिलाफ भी मुकदमा दर्ज किया है। तो जिसने जो अपराध किया उसके खिलाफ वो कार्रवाई की है।
लेकिन कटारिया जी, आप दोनों को इक्वेट नहीं कर सकते। एक इंसिडेंट में एक ट्रांसपोर्टेशन ऑफ काउस का भी मामला है। अभी आपको ये भी नहीं पता है कि वो काउ स्लॉटर के लिए था, उनके पास कागज थे, वो कह रहे थे दैट दे वर ट्रांसपोर्टिंग द काउस फॉर मिल्क। दूसरी केस में तो क्लियरली मतलब उनकी पिटाई हुई है, मर्डर हुआ है। दोनों तो एक जैसे केस नहीं है ना।
ऐसा है कि जिस दिन ये शनिवार की घटना थी उस दिन उसको चोट लगी थी, हॉस्पिटल भर्ती था। ये तो कल इसकी डेथ हुई है। डेथ होने के बाद वही तो मुकदमा उनके खिलाफ दर्ज किया जो उन्होंने इनके साथ मारपीट की, उसको 302 में कन्वर्ट कर दिया और अब कार्रवाई कर रहे हैं।
आपको नहीं लगता कटारिया जी कि ये जो विजिलेंटी ग्रुप्स हैं, ये जो गौ रक्षक अपने आप को मानते हैं, इनको लगता है कि हम कुछ भी कर सकते हैं क्योंकि सरकार हमारे खिलाफ कुछ नहीं करेगी, सरकार आपकी है और अभी हम कुछ भी किसी को भी पीट सकते हैं, मार सकते हैं, मतलब दे हैव अ फ्री रन इन अ स्टेट लाइक राजस्थान?
अगर वो आप लोगों के ध्यान में होगा, हमारे यहाँ तो कानून में जो भी अपराध करता है वो कानून तोड़ता है, ना उसकी कोई जात होती ना कोई धर्म होता है। जो कानून की अवहेलना करता है उसके खिलाफ कार्रवाई करना पुलिस का धर्म है। उन्होंने गो तस्करी करके उनके खिलाफ मुकदमा दर्ज हुआ, उसकी जांच होगी। इन्होंने उनके साथ मैन हैंडलिंग किया और 302 में मुकदमा कन्वर्ट हो गया उनके खिलाफ।
सर, ये मैन हैंडलिंग नहीं है, ये मर्डर है। आप इसको मैन हैंडलिंग कैसे कह सकते हैं?
अरे साहब, मर्डर तो 4 दिन बाद जब उसकी डेथ हुई तो हुआ है। मर्डर वहीं मौके पे नहीं हो गया है। मैं भी थोड़ा समझता हूँ, आप बहुत ज्यादा समझते हैं। थोड़ा भी विश्वास करो कि मेरे यहाँ।
कटारिया जी, हाउ कैन यू से दैट? आप ये कैसे कह सकते हैं? आप ये कैसे कर सकते हैं? द मैन इज डेड, ही हैज बीन मर्डर्ड, और आप कह रहे हैं कि 4 दिन बाद मरा तो वो मर्डर नहीं है?
ऐसा है कि आपको ये पता है कि भाई आप बहुत ही सत्य पक्ष को ले रहा हो, पर मेरे जैसा सत्य पक्ष जो है ना, मैं 100% कह रहा हूँ, जिसने जो कानून तोड़ा है उसके खिलाफ कार्रवाई होगी, चाहे ये पक्ष हो चाहे वो पक्ष हो।
किसी आदमी को उन्होंने इतना पीटा कि वो मर गया और आप इसे मैन हैंडलिंग कह रहे हैं, आप मर्डर नहीं कहना चाहते? मेरे को अभी भी समझ नहीं आ रहा कटारिया जी, आप ये कैसे कह सकते हैं?
कोई बेकार नहीं, उनके फालतू के टाइम था, कोई सच्चाई तो सुनना ही नहीं चाहता।
Well, Rajasthan's Home Minister has decided that he doesn't want to answer these questions. It's actually shocking. It is shocking that he is not even willing to call what has happened to this man in Rajasthan a case of murder. He's calling it manhandling when you can see on the video as well how brutally he was beaten, and he has died a few days later of those injuries in hospital. And whatever arrests have happened in this case, mind you, have happened after he has died and not when the actual incident took place. Well, that was me speaking to the Rajasthan Home Minister earlier, and also those arrests that have happened, may I add, are all for cow smuggling. They are under the Rajasthan Bovine Act. So none of them are actually for the people who carried out this attack on these people. Sandeep Mahapatra of the RSS, does the RSS condemn what has happened in Rajasthan?
Unequivocally, yes, unequivocally. And this has been our stated position that nobody would be allowed or should be allowed to take law into their own hands. There is a due process of law which has to be followed. And the fact remains that a sad incident has happened, and that should not have happened, and law will take its own course. That is our position, yes.
Well, I have joining us now Mohammed Yusuf. He's the brother of one of the men who was injured at that attack. Yusuf साहब, आप बता सकते हैं कि आपके भाई ने आपको क्या बताया, उस दिन क्या हुआ?
जी,
बताइए।
मुझे बताया था कि शनिवार की रात को जो है वो जयपुर से वहाँ से रवाना हुए हैं। हथवाड़ा करके कोई इलाका है रामगढ़ रोड पे, वहाँ से नगर निगम का जो है वो एक प्रूफ मिलता है नगर निगम का, और वो प्रूफ के साथ उन लोगों को जो है वहाँ गाय लाते हैं और सरकारी तौर पर वो मेला लगता है, और वो लोग जो है लेकर के अपने तरीके से वहाँ से गुजरे हैं। करीब शनिवार के 7 या 6:30 बजे का ये वाकया है। वहाँ वारदात हुई, कुछ लोग वहाँ पर आए, आकर के बाइक वगैरह से इनको घेरा है और घेर करके जो है उनकी पिटाई शुरू कर दी।
और आप कह रहे हैं कि सारे कागज उनके पास थे, ये दूध के लिए गाय को ट्रांसपोर्ट कर रहे थे, स्लॉटर के लिए नहीं।
जी बिल्कुल, वो दूध के लिए उनका पूरा वो जो है वो 4-5 दिन की ब्याई हुई गाय थी, और क्या नाम 10 किलो 12 किलो दूध देने वाली गाय, और बछड़े उनके साथ मौजूद थे।
तो अभी आपके भाई,
सारी चीजें थी वहाँ पर।
अभी आपके भाई का क्या हाल है यूसुफ जी, क्या हाल है उनका? अभी हॉस्पिटल में है कि घर आ गए?
जी हम जो है इनको वो कैलाश हॉस्पिटल में ये एडमिट थे वो घटना के बाद में। अब वहाँ के जो है फिर 2-3 दिन वहाँ उनका क्या नाम है ट्रीटमेंट चलता रहा। अब वहाँ कोई हालत उनकी सही सुधार पे नहीं थी, तो उसी दौरान में जो है ये पहलू खां उनकी जो है उनका इंतकाल हो गया वहाँ। तो उनको यहाँ उनकी डेड बॉडी के साथ हम इन लोगों को जो है एक जनाजे की नमाज में शिरकत के लिए इनको हम लेके आ गए साथ में। अब वहाँ जो है आने के बाद में फिर हालत उनकी दुरुस्त नहीं थी, तो हमारे यहाँ मेडिकल हसन खां, शहीद हसन खां मेवाती के नाम से एक मेडिकल है लल्हड़ नूहू मेवात में, वहाँ इनका ट्रीटमेंट चल रहा है। अभी सुबह जो है मैं उनको लेकर के आया हूँ, रात को ले गया था। हालत इस कदर नाजुक है कि जो है बिल्कुल उनके अंदरूनी दिमाग में चोट है, और वो जो आदमी जबान से कुछ कहता है, क्योंकि जहनी तबीयत सही नहीं है, अंदरूनी चोट है, और पीछे जो है पीठ पे भी उनके काफ़ी चोट है, और उसके अलावा पूरी आंखें और ये जो है, और उस दिन तो पूरा चेहरा सूजा हुआ था, और अब कुछ जो है नॉर्मल हुआ है। अब भी आंखें उनकी देखोगे तो वो बिल्कुल सुर्ख लाल खून उतरा हुआ उनमें।
वो तो हमने वीडियो में देखा कि किस तरह से, वो तो एक छोटा सा वीडियो है, उससे पता चलता है कि किस तरह से उस मॉब ने आपके भाई को और बाकी लोगों को मारा है। यूसुफ साहब आप हमारे साथ मौजूद रहिए। जफर सरेशवाला, लेट मी आस्क यू फर्स्ट, यू हर्ड द राजस्थान होम मिनिस्टर टॉकिंग टू अस जस्ट अ कपल ऑफ मिनट्स अगो, एंड द प्रॉब्लम हियर इज दैट you know when state authorities and the home minister of the state no less are not even willing to say that what the mob did was out and out wrong, not give, there's an attempt to give it a context, there is an attempt to call it manhandling. I mean, this beating was not a manhandling, it was so much more than that. And isn't that the first problem that you see here, Mr. Sareshwala?
Nidhi, in fact, I am appalled. I mean, if these are the type of people who run the home ministry of a state, then God forbid the state. Nidhi, exactly, I'm not going, I mean, these people should only go to what their prime minister said. You must be very well aware of it. When this kind of thing had happened a year back, the Prime Minister unequivocally had said that these cow vigilantes, they are criminals. They are masquerading as गौ rakshaks. And he also said कि गायें ज्यादा प्लास्टिक खा खा के मरती हैं ना के कत्ल खाने में. I mean, I'm appalled what type of BJP minister he is. And Nidhi, same type of thing happened in Gujarat last year. Same thing on SG highway. Gujarat police and the Gujarat chief minister intervened very fast, and Nidhi, 7 people were arrested, and immediately they were arrested on 307 because that man died later on. They were arrested on 307 and arson. And then when he died, that was converted into 302. And today all the 7 are in jail. One of the guys of VHP, their bail was rejected. and the police has made such a watertight case that it is impossible for them but the conviction. Same thing happened with Dalits in Una. Their 13 vigilantes have been put inside the jail, their bail has been rejected. So I think this Rajasthan Home Minister, if he doesn't learn from anywhere else, then he should go to the state next to him. And I am telling you one more thing, Nidhi. जिसको खून पीने की आदत पड़ जाती है तो वो वेजिटेरियन नहीं रहता. आज तो मुसलमान है, आज ये गाय की तस्करी करने वाले, कल अगर ये नहीं होंगे, लेकिन जिसको खून पीने की आदत पड़ जाएगी तो फिर वो कल आपके घर पे आएगा. I think this is very dangerous, and I think the least Rajasthan government should do, catch hold of these people, book them, and unless there is no deterrent, you will see continuously, and they should learn from their own Prime Minister.
Well, Mr. Sareshwala, those are very strong words, and I'd like to take what you've said to Shaina NC of the BJP who joins us tonight from Mumbai. And Shaina, you know, Mr. Sareshwala has never hidden the fact, that he's been a supporter of Mr. Modi and his development agenda. He's, stood by that for many, many years. And today the same Mr. Sareshwala is anguished when he talks about the Rajasthan Home Minister's response to this and the Rajasthan government's response to this, calling it appalling. And saying that what these groups are doing is very dangerous. Shaina.
Nidhi, firstly, please let me say on record that both sides are to be blamed. It's not as if the Rajasthan government hasn't done anything. 10 people have been arrested.
For smuggling
and please
cows.
let me say on record that the police have made these 10 arrests and register. No, for the mob as well. Please,
No, they're not for the mob.
Don't
They're
try
not.
to
There is not a
misconstrue what
single
I'm
arrest
saying.
for the attack.
No, 5 of them.
No, they're not.
Are you going to please hear me out?
Our reporter is there, Shaina. We have the police on record.
See,
they don't have any of the attackers under arrest.
Hux.
Who are the both sides to blame? Please clarify meanwhile. Which is the other side?
Let me please clarify on record that this was a very unfortunate incident where, of course, there was malhandling, there was a mob that claims to be attached to a fringe element. Let's not forget what our Prime Minister has said, and what Zafar Bhai said is absolutely correct. He has said repeatedly that so-called protectors of society, whether they try to be these rakshaks or whether they want to take law into their hands, will not be spared. What the Rajasthan Home Minister was trying to tell you was the entire incident, the way it unfolded. I think if you had just given him a little more time to express what the police have done, they have arrested people, yes, but even people in the mob who are suspects will not be let away scot-free. Do understand that there is a law in place, which is a constitutional provision given to every state to ensure that cows are not slaughtered, and we do concede that there could be cases which are very unfortunate, like
there is a cow slaughter law, and it is for the police to act on that cow slaughter law, which is pretty tough in many states today, and including in Rajasthan, right? It is not for the VHP, the Bajrang Dal and other groups to take the law into their own hands and do this. Why do they feel so emboldened to do this? And you use the word manhandling as well. This merciless thrashing of these people, which is on camera, is that manhandling according to you?
I want to say on record that it is an unfortunate incident. The RSS panelist Mahapatraji has also said the same. Our stand is absolutely clear that there is a constitutional provision to ensure that there is no cow slaughter. There is a
you're more worried about the cow slaughter, which hasn't happened in this case.
When it comes to an incident such as
Shaina, I'm sorry,
yes,
but you are not condemning the murder of this man.
I am condemning.
You are first
talking
about
condemning.
There was no cow slaughter in
condemning.
Where is the cow slaughter that happened?
Citing.
You are first talking about the cow slaughter law.
Nidhi,
are you going to condemn the killing of this man?
I am giving you two perspectives.
No.
Absolutely.
What is the two
We condemn
perspectives?
the killing of a man if it is a mistaken identity, or if it is a case where it is proven that there was
so it was okay to kill him even if he was smuggling the cow. It was okay to take the law into your own hands even if he was smuggling the cow. That's
absolutely
okay?
Not.
Then
you
I don't understand what you're saying.
You are trying for me to say something that I do not want to say. I am saying that where there is a constitutional provision, of course, if somebody does falter, they will be dealt with in accordance with law. If there are certain fringe elements who are attaching themselves to a larger cause and suggesting that they have the moral right to take law into their hands, they do not. And please believe me that there is a system in place where there is a constitutional provision that every state deals with an atrocity given in accordance, which is passed by the assembly and the central government. Today, look at what Mr. Anil Dave has said. I think that is something that also needs to be highlighted. We need to
you know what is amazing? No, I'm sorry, Shaina, but you're just, you're just sort of beating around the bush here. There's no outright condemnation of what has happened. You are talking about the cow slaughter law.
I have
the problem here seems to be that it's all being equated as the same thing, and it's not. Because Pawan Khera, there is the murder of a man that is involved here. And, now we're hearing words like manhandling. Well, if it was cow slaughter, a context is being given. Pawan Khera, this is a really scary deja vu right now.
Absolutely, and also words like mistaken identity. What exactly does she mean by mistaken identity? May I ask her, please? What mistaken identity? He is a human being. Is there any doubt in that identity? You kill a human being on suspicion of smuggling a cow for which he has valid documentation, Nidhi. How can they do that and get away? And I'm sorry, but this lip service is rubbish. It sounds hollow. The Prime Minister has to walk the talk now. After 6 months of Dadri, after being prodded by the President of India, after being prodded and criticized by the international media, the Prime Minister talks about against rakshaks. He has to walk the talk. This is his moment. If he can't perform now, I'm sorry, he will have failed the nation. What does he mean by criticizing rakshaks? How can Gulab Chand Kataria get away with that silly comment of his? Why can't the Prime Minister take action against him to prove to the nation that he meant every word that he said about 6 months ago?
I think that's it.
I'm sorry, we are heading into a very, very strange situation wherein it's an undeclared emergency. You ban meat, you ban liquor, you ban everything. You have anti-Romeo squads. You just go about killing people, and then China NC has a cheek to say that it's a case of mistaken identity. What does she mean by this?
I didn't. Will you let me now please conclude by just...
What did you mean when you said mistaken identity?
1 second. First, please hear what the police had to say. The police said on record that these cow vigilantes were trying to stop several vehicles. So it's not like the police was trying to suggest that this one versus the other. They were trying to contain a situation. It is most unfortunate that this incident happened. You have all the records that say the police got this information that some people were smuggling cows from Jaipur, and that's why they were headed to Delhi. Now, if this was proven wrong, I do concede that there could be a certain kind of lapse. But for people who took law into their hands, you cannot blame the state government. If at all Mr. Kataria was only trying to highlight what actually transpired. And the fact of the matter is that when you have a Prime Minister that leads by example and is not protecting or insulating any fringe element that is trying to take law into their hands, and in this particular case, we do believe that there could be suspects where there is investigation, people have been arrested, and this investigation will come out into the public domain. So for you to form your judgment that we have wronged and we are on a witch hunt is unfortunate.
This
is one group versus another. Both sides are guilty.
No, 1 second. 1 second. No. What do you mean both sides are guilty? Did these men, Shaina, I'm sorry, you saw a mob beating up a group of Muslim men on suspicion of cow smuggling. Okay, on suspicion of cow smuggling. Did those men beat them back and try to hurt them? They were the ones who were being beaten. How are you drawing an equivalence? You're making it sound like the two sides were fighting. They were not fighting. These men were beaten.
Nidhi, obviously the Home Minister gets a reporting by the police. If you're going to contradict that, you have formed your judgment. I don't need to fall into that trap of trying to justify.
Even the Home Minister has not said what you said, because clearly you know something that he doesn't.
It is most unfortunate.
No, he hasn't said this, what you're saying.
That this incident did take place where a person loses life. And that's why I said that if it is a case of cow slaughter, there are laws to deal with it. Here there was no cow slaughter, and if there are certain fringe elements that take law into their hands, they need to be dealt with sternly as well.
Shekhar wants to
and
come
that is exactly the point of the government.
Shekhar wants to come in.
When a man is murdered, when a bunch of defenseless people are beaten up so mercilessly, more could have died, more may die. It is not unfortunate. It's not just unfortunate, it's condemnable, right? So, unfortunate is for an accident. This is not an accident. We have to be clear about that. Second, I am finding a very strange situation where a young RSS activist is completely unequivocal in condemning this.
Yeah.
He has clarity in his mind.
But I have condemned it too.
But BJP people are going round and round. Ye dil diwana hai, dil to diwana hai.
Mr. Gupta, in all fairness, Saina also condemned it. She was also trying to put what Mr. Kataria has said. And I have also heard Mr. Kataria speaking that law will take its own course. All those people who are involved, the mob or whoever it is, action will be taken. That is the bottom line. So the Home Minister.
Why do these mobs feel that they can do this? Why is that?
See, these are fringe elements. If something of this sort has happened, as I said in the beginning, and Ms. Saina NC has also pointed out and mentioned, this should not have happened. The fact remains that in today's India also, even after BJP coming into power, smuggling of cattle, and I am talking from data that I have come across, into Bangladesh is a business of more than 10 to 12 billion.
So should people be killed for that?
No, I am not. I am just giving you a context. 10 to 12 billion, 10 to
I'm
billion
not
US
talking about
dollars.
smuggling of
Just
cattle.
listen me out.
I am
Just
talking about
listen me
vigilante
out.
group. No,
Listen
because
me out.
I'll not let you justify this.
I'm not justifying
please don't
it.
give us a context.
Nobody is justifying
what is
it.
I don't care about the cow smuggling
that
statistics.
The authorities which are supposed
Yeah.
to implement the law, and as you would know, except for few states, all Indian states have strict laws. If those laws are not being implemented properly, or the smugglers who are able to, hoodwink the police authorities, there are certain groups who are supposed to inform the police authorities, and in this case, that's what supposed to be done. But this has happened, which has been condemned.
Why should these groups have any legitimacy?
See, Saina, I'll tell you why. Because as I told you, even after having laws for 60 odd years, cow slaughter is an issue, and we cannot get away from that issue.
So, rakshak groups should just continue to have a free run and do whatever
I'm not
they
saying
want.
free run. There are
Nobody's
in that case, why should you have NGOs? Why there are NGOs? NGOs are there to support the implementation of the.
The Prime Minister actually said the Gaur Raksha business makes me so angry.
Somebody informs the police that
this is
look,
Mr.
this is
Narendra Modi's words, the Prime Minister's words. Gaur Raksha makes me so angry.
And
this
we
Gaur
have all
Raksha
quoted
business
that
Gaur Rakshaks are nothing but anti-soldiers, anti-socials. Miscreants can't misuse Gaur Seva posing as Gaur Rakshaks. Beware of fake cow protectors. I mean, these are the Prime Minister's own words.
We have heard that. We have heard that, and yes,
but this is exactly what we are all saying.
Yes, that's
no, you're not saying that.
No, nobody should be allowed that in the name of
We are
Gauraksha,
100%.
they should be killing somebody. That is the bottom line. If you have some information that some cows are being smuggled illegally, of course, smuggling is illegal. It can't be legal. So, if illegally something is happening, the best you could do is inform the police.
Else. I am asking you, why is it first in the Dadri case, then in this case? There have been other cases, for instance, a hotel in Jaipur that, where the staff virtually got lynched because of suspicion that they had been serving beef when it was, not that at all. It just happened recently. Why do these groups feel emboldened to do this now? Why didn't we hear about these cases 5 years ago?
I'll tell you.
But that's exactly what we're saying.
Nidhi,
Law
I'll
will
tell
take
you.
its course and they will be punished.
Let me ask Mr. Mahapatra
Yes, I'll tell you. And I'll tell you of instances that happened in UP between 2013 to 2016. 5 police officers were killed by these cow smugglers. 2 Dalits, including one BHP leader of Mathura, was gunned down because he was protesting against these cow smugglers. So this is an issue which cannot be escaped. We cannot be saying that, look, this is not an issue. So maybe in the past, the cow smugglers, they were taking law into their own hands and
so now it's time for the Gaur Rakshaks
No, I'm
to
not
do the
saying
same.
that.
What are you saying?
No, all I'm saying is this is an issue of crucial importance. This has been happening for many, many years. And if the Gaur Rakshaks are acting in this manner, law should take its own course. I'm not justifying whatever has happened, maybe the Una incident that was spoken about, be it this incident that happened in Alwar or any other incident. But my point is that in the past, people have been killed by these smugglers. So to say that these are innocent people, I'm not indicating these Alwar people, but those smugglers, they are not innocent people. They had the impunity to kill a sub-inspector in Bareilly. They had the impunity to kill police
must be killed too.
UP. Sorry?
But should people be killed on mere suspicion?
So I'm not saying
should
that I'm not
even if somebody,
justifying.
let me just ask you, if someone is proven to be a cow smuggler, even in this case, which is what I asked China as well, it is the police's duty to arrest them and do whatever they have to do under the law. It's not any vigilante group's responsibility.
No quarrel about that. All I'm saying is, if at all you are doing some Samaj Seva, all you should do is go to the police and tell the police to take action.